Meeting is called to order. Mr. Ron Fruit will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Fruit. Actually, we'll need a roll call to determine if we've got a quorum.
Mayor Todd Coverdell.
Here.
Ron Fruit.
here.
Karen Tupley.
Here.
Tom McCarthy.
Here.
Mark Chambers.
Here.
Kevin Melby.
Here.
Steve Downs.
Here.
Ryan Cairns.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Has this meeting been properly noticed?
She forgot me.
Whoop.
I'm here.
Oh, I did forget you,
Thank
Melanie.
you.
Yeah. Melanie Walters.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you. Has this meeting been properly noticed?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Next on tonight's agenda, we have approval of minutes. The minutes are not ready to go. We're going to skip that tonight. Next will be approval of the agenda. Once the council has had a moment to review tonight's agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion from Alderperson Tepley. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Downs. Any discussion of the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The agenda is approved. Next, we have City and Utility Department Head reports and concerns. I'm going to start real close here. Mr. Billy Jones, do you have anything that you'd like to share with the council tonight?
Negative, sir.
Other than you're going to be on vacation, so
Yes.
Congratulations on that. Okay, we've got department heads intermingled with everybody here tonight, and I can't see everybody because we have a full house. So if you're here as a department head and you have something to say, please stand. I will call your name. Jason Glassbrenner, do you have anything for tonight?
Yeah, just one positive report here is the public should know the city has been working to acquire 7 lots between in the area of West Court, West Mill, Jefferson, and Orange Street for hopefully for the use in conceptual planning that's been being done for a long time. I'm happy to report that the city has completed the purchase of those lots as of yesterday. So that's good news, and we hopefully will see continued redevelopment of our downtown and Orange Street area as a result of this purchase.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, Mr. Scott Gall, did you have anything you wanted to say to the council tonight?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. No? Okay, Todd Fisher shaking his head, no one really heard that. Anybody else out there? Mr. Kruger, did you have, no? That's a no again. Okay, I don't see any other department heads. Yeah, go ahead, Scott, if you'd like to. Mr. Scott Saul.
Yes, I talked to the mayor previously. I told him that I would stand up now. I'm talking with 30 years of experience on the utility commission. Approximately the last 2 years I've been the president. I would say that I'm here because I would ask the council that I would like them to stop or delay the action on proposals 2 and 3 made by the city attorney. If they decide they think they should go on, I would say the first reason they should delay is so that the council can have some time to study the complexities of running our utilities. Secondly, they can develop a plan of how to run the utilities rather than just taking them over without any thinking. If you proceed with either of the 2 options, the utilities would like to ask for some time to present a defense for itself, showing the reasons why we feel we should remain running as it is currently. I would like to say also that I don't necessarily agree with some of the wording of the report of the investigation of Ashley by Ashley starting it. But the recommendations in that report are exactly the goals that Vanessa and I have been trying to reach. And I think that everybody should know that. The city utilities have been a source of pride to me, and it means the world to me. And it's inconceivable to me that anyone that appreciates our utilities could even think of changing them as they're currently running. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Vanessa, do you want to address the council or not?
Sure,
You
I'll
should.
address.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to know. Yeah. I can address him later too, but I am resigning my job and I will be
I don't know if it's
Should be, is
Good.
it pushed up?
Button on the side.
It's pushed up.
Okay, just real close.
Okay,
There.
Gotcha.
all right, I will be resigning my job as of August 2nd, that's my last day, and it is because of the administrator, so you all should know that.
Okay. So that is it. Okay, so that is it, I believe, for department heads, unless Ashley has something she would like to say.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Mr. Wendell? Okay, there we go. Next on tonight's agenda, Mayor and Alderpersons Committee, Commission, Board reports and comments and/or items to be discussed at a future meeting. Mr. Ron Fruit.
Only one thing, and that is that the latest statistical data available shows that greater Richland tourism is moving in a good direction and sustained growth. And Marty Richards will be on the radio tomorrow to discuss that report in detail.
Excellent, thank you, Ron. Karen Tepley.
Yes, I'd just like to report that I received an email from the State Historical Markers Program Coordinator, and they do have the application for Vernon Thompson's historical marker in their hands, and they will take it from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Mr. Tom McCarthy.
Nothing tonight,
Thank you, Mr. Mark Chambers.
Nothing this evening, sir.
All right, Melanie Walters.
Nothing tonight, everything that we've been discussing at personnel is actually on the agenda tonight, so.
Thank you. Kevin Melby. Mr. Steve Downs.
Nothing tonight,
Okay, Mr. Ryan Cairns.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
You bet. Okay. Next would be the treasurer's report.
So in your packets was a treasurer's report as of month end, May 31st. So the reason it's a month behind is because by the time we get the bank statements and stuff in, and it's usually the 10th, the 15th of the month are good days to look for the current months. So it's a month behind, but it is all up to date and nothing concerning.
Okay. Does the council have any questions or comments for Misty regarding the treasurer's report? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's treasurer's report.
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Walters, is there a second? Second by Mr. Downs. Discussion of the treasurer's report. Okay, hearing none, Misty, we'll do a roll call vote on that.
Okay, Cairns,
Aye.
Downs,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Chambers,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Tepley,
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. Next is the payment of the bills. While the council reviews the bills, I'll read the following. The bills presented on this day, excluding any library fund invoices, having been referred to the Finance and Budget Committee and said committee having duly investigated and audited these bills, hereby make the following recommendation that the city bills presented on this day be paid with the following adjustments and/or exceptions. There are no adjustments or exceptions listed. It is signed by all three members of the Finance Committee. I'll entertain a motion to pay once the council has reviewed the bill.
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion from Mr. Melby, is there a second? Second from Mr. McCarthy. Discussion of the bills?
Question on first page, under Bonnell Industries, the outlay, do we know what that is?
That's the leaf vacuum, the street
Oh,
department. just
right,
purchased.
thank you for the,
Further discussion of the bills? Okay, hearing no further discussion, then we'll have a roll call vote to pay them.
Fruit,
Aye.
Tepley,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Chambers,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Downs,
Aye.
Walters,
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Next on tonight's agenda, Finance Committee recommendation and actions. Mr. Ryan Cairns.
All right, Finance met just prior to the council meeting tonight. Item 3, additional service engagement with Johnson Block. Ashley, do you want to speak to that, please?
This is requesting that we receive additional services from Johnson Block, who is our auditor. They would be helping with monthly reconciliations and other things like that in the clerk treasurer's office to help us continue to move forward and have better preparation for the audit. This would be on an as-needed basis at an hourly rate. And so we're anticipating maybe 1 to 2 days per month that we would utilize their services. And it is likely that depending on the person providing said services, that it would either be $150 an hour or $242 per hour.
Motion to approve Johnson Block hired at an hourly rate to help with reconciling our books.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Cairns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Tepley. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, we need a roll call. Misty?
Cairns,
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Melby.
Aye.
Chambers.
Aye.
McCarthy. Tepley.
Aye.
Crew.
Aye.
Okay, that motion is carried.
Thank you. Item 4, modify contract for ongoing services with Southwestern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. Ashley, would you like to speak to that, please?
Sure. We have an existing contract that's in your packet with Southwestern Regional Planning Commission. The proposed changes to that contract would increase the amount of time that Misty is providing services to the city. So from 1 to 2 days per week, it would be 2 to 3 days per week. This contract would go for a term of 3 years, but can be withdrawn from with a 90-day notice. The hourly rate in which we receive those services would be unchanged. So the differences, again, would be increasing the amount of time available to 2 to 3 days per week, and then lengthening it for up to 3 years, but it does not need to last for 3 years if we no longer need the services, and including a 90-day withdrawal period.
My motion would be to amend the contract currently with Southwest Regional Planning from 1 to 2 days a week to 2 to 3 days a week, up to 3 years.
We have a motion from Mr. Cairns. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Walters. Is there discussion on this one?
Where does the money for this come from?
So we have budgeted in the outlay for financial services as well in unspent funds from this year.
Thank you.
Will those funds sustain for a 3-year contract?
We'll have to budget for it yearly because our budget only goes on for a year.
Further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call on this.
Crew.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Chambers.
Aye.
Melby.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Downs. Cairns.
Aye.
That motion is carried.
Thank you. Item 3, review and status update on aquatic center donations. Mick Cosgrove is here. I'll let him speak to that.
So totally, where we should be with pledges collected after the first 5 years is $764,289. Where our actual money in is $665,932.31. So we're at 87% funded. We've identified, there's basically 6 major pledges that are behind or they haven't collected for this year. Made some phone calls already today, but in the next week I will contact them all personally. The one that I did talk to promised a check immediately in the mail, so he just didn't realize his bookkeeper had sent it. So right now we're at 87%. What should be in is in, and I'm confident in the 6 businesses or individuals that these are pledges that we will collect. I don't believe there's anything that's in critical position. So.
Questions or comments from Mr. Cosgrove?
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, next is items for discussion and public action, or action. Number 6, public hearing on the future of the Utility Commission. Very quickly, and this is laid up there, I'm sure several of you saw it. I'll just read through it. The rules for this, it's pretty simple. Any person who wishes to address the council during the public hearing, just provide your name and address before you begin to speak. Everyone gets 2 minutes to speak. Jason will have the timer, it's right there on the wall. Okay, comments must be germane to the Utility Commission. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole, not to an individual alderperson or city personnel. The commenter should refrain from asking questions of the council or individual members. Please be courteous, avoid personalized remarks and profanity and so forth. And the last one, the mayor reserves the right to terminate an individual's public comments if the rules are violated. I'm not worried that any of you are going to do that, but that's on the list of rules. So we are ready to open the public hearing on the future of the Utility Commission. I'm going to play by the rules here and entertain a motion to open the public hearing pertaining to the future of the Utility Commission.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Chambers, is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Melby, is there discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I want to point out that the third sentence for the rules for public hearing participation states that talking, shouting, outburst, clapping, and similar gestures are prohibited.
Thank you, Mr. Downs. Further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of opening the public hearing on the future of the Utility Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's open. Who's got the microphone? And we'll make this real easy. He's got the microphone. Whoever wants to speak first, if you just stand and he'll hand you the microphone, just give us name and address. You have 2 minutes. Okay.
Push the button up on the side.
Thank you. My name is Alan Madison. My address is 1097 Valley View Drive in Richland Center. I've lived in Richland Center for the past 8 years. I'm here tonight to question the sudden urgency in addressing the thought of possibly disbanding the City Utilities Commission. From my gathering of information, there seems to be a rub between the City Administrator and the Utility Commission or the utility employees. There was recently a special council meeting last Tuesday to discuss the past personnel concerns, etc. Much of this meeting was in closed session, although at the conclusion, Attorney Whittle did give a brief statement. A couple of issues that I thought were unusual at that meeting. First, the session was conducted in closed session for those matters that were outlined, but it seemed unusual that the ongoing personal investigation concerned the City Administrator and that she was included in the closed session. Secondly, in that same closed session, the ongoing personal investigation was being conducted by a third party. I would have waited for the discussion until the third party had provided their results. They did not provide their results until Friday the 28th, 3 days after the special session. Basically, the findings, or the outcome of the findings that we were seeking from a third party investigator were not considered in that closed session. Upon reading the investigative report that was provided by the third-party investigator, Samantha Wood, in the matter of possible hostile work environment, one comment that stood out to me in that conclusion, and I quote, that discipline has only occurred in situations where employees did not meet city administrators' work expectations. I find it unusual that the city administrator sets work expectations. That responsibility should rest with the department heads or various committee members for those departments. Bottom line, I believe we hired a city administrator and we've ended up with a city manager. Two completely different roles. And I do believe we need a city administrator.
Okay, that's 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, who's going to go next?
Bill, did you want to go next?
Do I need that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll talk quietly. Is this on?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I passed out a sheet to you people up there. First thing you'll realize is I will not get a job as a typist.
Mayor, can you state his name and address?
And I'm not out to pick on anybody, just what's better for the council and the utility commission. It appears the city administrator, and this is told to me by somebody with a utility who would know, has attended one utility meeting. This may be why you recommended to make changes to the utility to not having an understanding of the workings of the utility and just pulling something out of the thin air. The commission has a 50-year history going back to when it produced its own electricity. Through this time period also, it also oversaw the operation of the wastewater plants in the water department. Richard Steiner filled the position of Public Works Director and Utility Administrator through much of that time. In 1990, he dropped the Public Works Director as the utility was taking up most of his.
Bill, that's time. I just need you to give the mic to the next person, please.
What?
Pass the microphone to the next person. Your 2 minutes have ended.
Names?
Please hand the microphone to, there you go.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm Sheila Troxel, and for those who might not know me, I am a lifelong resident of Richland County and was a downtown business owner for many, many years. I did attend last week's meeting, and I, along with others, waited the almost 5.5 hours out in the common area while you were in closed session. The reason I stayed is because I'm really concerned about what is happening in the city, and I wanted to hear firsthand what was said and not get information from rumors, as we all know how information can then get misconstrued. When the council came out and went back into open session, I listened to Attorney Wendell give 3 options and then give his recommendation, which was third, to dissolve the Utility Commission. I do respect that things are said in closed session and we are not privileged to. However, all of a sudden, after 60 years, you are being asked to dissolve something that has obviously been working well for the city. The commission is made up of respected members of our community. There was no reason given why. You need to share with us the why. I have talked with many people who through the years have been involved in some way with the Utility Commission, and quite honestly, not one of them thinks it's a good idea to dissolve it. Not to say through the years there haven't been conflicts between the council and the commission, but they respected each other enough to sit down and figure it out and come up with a solution. Right now you have a lot of internal issues going on that haven't been fixed yet. Tonight you approved extra help from Johnson and Block, and when I read the meeting notes, it looks like it's to help balance the books. So now on top of those things already going on, you are going to dissolve the Utility Commission and take that on as well? I would really appreciate someone explaining to me and to all of us the why. I understand that things can't always stay the same and sometimes change is needed, but right now there is a lot of negativity in our community, and this is just adding to it. I can honestly say we are all here tonight because this is our community and we care deeply. I feel that until there are a lot of questions answered and we get our city and our community back where it needs to be, I can't support this recommendation. Through the years, I've worked with a lot of employees. Sorry.
Thanks, Sheila.
Just wanted to say, we're better than this.
Okay, hold that. Hold the mic. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do to speed this up, so we don't have, I've got these sheets here that several of you filled out. I'm just going to call the people that I have to name them when we're done. If anybody still wants to speak, you can. The next sheet I have is Mr. John Collins.
Lobby.
There he is right there, coming in the lobby, or the entrance. John, before you speak, name and address, please.
John Collins, 2155 Hillside Drive. My name is John Collins, and I'm a current citizen member of the Utility Commission and previously served 6 years on the Utilities Commission as an elected official. As I stand here now, I am reminded that I too have been in those seats that you are sitting in now and listen to people like me in this very moment presenting arguments. My ask today is to keep the current Utility Commission. Although the City Utilities Commission is not perfect, I believe it should be kept with some adjustments. I believe that this system is better than no system. In my first couple years on council, I sought to find the value in having both a city council form of government and a separate utilities commission. I questioned why our city would need both. As I attended conferences such as the one in Washington, D.C. in 2017, I was able to meet other utility commissioners, utility managers, mayors, city council representatives that served on the utility commissions, and I became convinced of the great value of our utility commission brings to our citizens. I'm not sure how the council could begin to take on the responsibility of the utility. You council members have so many issues to attend to and so many committee meetings that it would be very difficult to dedicate the necessary time to the responsibility of running a utility. Having a governing body that can dedicate sufficient time and energy to utilities issues seems to make the most sense to me. While the city owns the utility, the city does not direct or regulate the utility. It is required to operate per Wisconsin Public Service Commission rules as a regulated utility that it is. There are examples of cities in Wisconsin that have dissolved their utility commission, and the results negatively affected the relationships between the city and utilities long term. The city of Columbus was the most recent. Thank you for listening, and I would be happy to answer any questions now or in the future.
Thank you, John. The next sheet I have is Mr. Dale Bender.
Mr. Mayor,
Just name and address for me, please, guys.
Dale Bender, 19755 Pastoral Ridge Lane. I am not a resident of the city of Richland Center, so if that is a problem, I understand. Okay. All right. I was an electric superintendent for 34 years. In that time, I worked for 9 different mayors, more council members and commissioners than any of you are old in years. And, you know, we had a lot of differences, and I certainly didn't always agree with the utility commission, and I didn't agree with the council at times. But what I always respected is when there were those problems, there would be a meeting called of the full council and the full commission, and they would work out the differences. And somewhere in the middle, they always found a way that it would work. I don't understand, because I don't believe that's happened in this particular case, so I'm not sure why it hasn't. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I don't want to misspeak. The other thing with the commission is, because I am biased, certainly of them, but they have been supportive of their staff. Even in Act 10, I've not seen the turmoil that we've seen in recent years, and I just have nothing but respect for all the people that have served, whether it be on the city council or the commission. I know it's not easy, believe me. I've dealt with enough of the public to know that nothing that you do is very simple. I would really encourage you to educate yourselves on the decision that you have to make. A couple examples that I think are worth you looking up in the history books. In the early 90s, how would you handle if you had the same council members or an organization that loaded up a council? How would you handle that when it came to your utilities? When you're shutting down a business right before Christmas and you have to make a decision, the utility stands to lose almost $500,000. How quick?
Thank you very much. Next I have Mr. Jim Hyder.
Oh, okay. My name's Jim Hyatt. I'm a 19-year
Jim, street address?
A little bit too.
Street address?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Start the time over, please. Start the time.
Okay, there we go.
Jim Hyatt, 2160 East Preston Drive, Richland Center. I'm a 19-year member of the Utility Commission. And my question is, why are we here? Utilities is a business. It's not like the city. We're a business, and we run as a business. Are we running it into the ground? No, we're solid. What are we doing wrong to put us here today? What do we need to change things? Nobody has ever told us. Dale just mentioned Act 10. Act 10 changed a lot of things, and our wages slipped. And we had to do something as a utility. We went to an MEUW conference, and one of the things is the linemen kept leaving their communities. They said, how do we keep our linemen? And we came back and we discussed it. Ladies and gentlemen, we gave our linemen a $5 an hour raise to keep them. That sounds like a lot, but you know something? We became the model of the state of Wisconsin. More people have followed us in municipalities because of that lead. We're a business. 31 days ago, I met Mr. Mondell. He came to a city council meeting, or a utility meeting. We asked him, what are we doing? Things got heated. He said, lawyers don't lie. We asked him, are you going to take over the utility commission? He said, no, no, no. 4 days later, our heads were on the block with that meeting last week. Ladies and gentlemen, that no, 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 no led to yes, 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 and lawyers do lie. Again, why are we here?
Thanks, Jim. Next, I have Judy Shinerman.
I really don't have too much to say, but I'm Judy Shireman, 515 South Richland Drive, spent 12 years on city council, never once had an issue with the utility commission. My question was what Jim just asked. Why are we here? Why did we just find out about this a week ago in a newspaper article? You obviously have been dealing with this for quite some time to get it this far that you want to resolve it. This is ridiculous. We never, ever had these problems before. And yes, I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm very blunt, very front forward, and I tell you the truth every time I can. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Mike Kaufman.
I guess I'm on. First of all, Mike Kaufman, and 855 Panorama Court, apartment 305 in Richland Center. And the reason that I'm here, and I'm so sad to see what has happened in our city basically has been taken over by bureaucrats. I had a nice long speech that I prepared here that I wanted to deliver this evening, but what I want to do is I want to talk about the employees that I went ahead and worked with when I was the mayor in the city of Richland Center. I'm very passionate about these people. And I have to say, I've received these text messages, I received phone calls from some of the city employees explaining to me what was going on in the city. I literally cried when Vanessa went ahead and I counseled with her several times. And again, we never had these issues. If we had personnel issues, the people would come to me, we would sit down, we would figure it out, we would solve the problem. Only once, and I'm going to go ahead and say this because it brings me to tears, only once did I have to write up an employee in the city of Richland Center. And that was Shane Stibbe, and I want to apologize to him. And I hope that in the future that he's able to find a kidney. He worked so hard, he did the very best he can. You can throw away all of the books that you've got. It's just good common sense, and I have made my mistakes, and I thank you all for listening. And as I said, I am passionate about every one of these employees, current and former. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Vanessa, did you want to speak?
I didn't plan to speak tonight. However, when I saw the Facebook...
Do me a favor, do the name
Yes,
and address.
Vanessa Muller, 19091 Kestrel Ridge Lane, Richland Center. I didn't plan to speak tonight. However, I was told by the attorney, Samantha Wood, that my name would not be in that report, and it was. So attorneys do lie. The investigation has brought several issues to light, which some have used as a basis of questioning the utility commission future. It's important to address these concerns. The investigation has pointed to alleged resistance to change by the utility. The city administrator claimed credit for software upgrades that originated from the utility itself. These upgrades were initiated and implemented by the dedicated professionals within the utility and oversight of the commission, who has continually sought to improve our systems and services. When the city started their adoption to the system, utility personnel stood by the city, as they should, to help their peers. Additional changes made by the utility are upgrades to payment systems to allow for credit card payments and online portal. We are also in the process of the automatic meter reading. The portrayal of the commission as resistant to change is not only inaccurate, but undermines the significant advancements and moderations we have achieved. I do not know how the attorney can come to one regular meeting and one special meeting to know that he has enough knowledge to say that we should disband the utility. My question is why? Why are all the options so extreme? I ask that you make yourself fully aware of the entire situation before voting to the extreme and throwing 64 years of hard work and dedication down the drain.
Thanks, Vanessa. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name. Brett from Reedsburg Utility Commission.
Sorry, I gotta get away from the camera. I don't wanna be that close. I'm Brett Schupner.
How do we say your last name?
Brett Schupner. I'm the general manager of Reedsburg Utility Commission. The Utility Commission address 501 Utility Court, Reedsburg, Wisconsin. Just
the
want
mic might be off. Flip the button up.
There's kind of back over.
Okay.
Do I need to repeat all that?
Go ahead, Brett.
All right. So I just want to express, we work closely with Richland Center Utilities. We work cooperatively together on mutual aid. So there's always been this long-standing working relationship we have with Richland Center Utilities. They're respected among the peers due to their dedicated staff and commission members. When I read through the investigation report, you could pretty much replace Richland Center with Reedsburg and replace some names. We went through this in 2014, 15, 16. Basically had an administrator that wanted to control the utilities. There was communication breakdowns, morale among employees was negatively impacted. There's lack of trust, fear of retaliation, and created a hostile work environment. And there was filtering of information to the city council, so the city council wasn't getting the full information. Benefits of commission. It's a quasi-independent, nonpartisan, and non-political management of the utilities. This keeps politics out of what's best for the ratepayers and the customers of the commission. You still do have two council members on the commission. So that is your tie back to the commission. Your largest customers don't get to vote. So that they do get to speak to the commission if they want to and have a say there. Utilities are a business and they need to be run as one. They're not a government. And then also the utilities can compete with neighboring utilities for customers when you get onto your fringe territories. Benefits also is the diverse knowledge base of your commission members. Members tend to be business leaders. They're not elected officials. You can appoint members that have the experience and skills that you want on that commission.
Thanks, Brett. Okay, that's all the sheets I had, but there are obviously a lot more people here than that. If there are other people who would like to speak, if somebody wants to go, raise your hand and we'll get you the microphone.
Marcia Mahadka, 165 East 8th Street here in the city. I was on the city council for a number of years. I was on the utility commission. When I first got appointed to the utility commission, I thought, why me? I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about how it's run. I got a very good education. There are department heads, when they come and they propose a project for the city, they've already checked on what resources are available to help pay for that project. If there's grant money, if there's matching money, how that's operated. They do a lot of research in that kind of stuff. They do a lot of, when the bids go out, they have a lot of requirements that the companies bidding for these projects have to meet. Some of those are how long they've been in business, their liability insurance, are they bonded, the number of employees adequate to complete the job, and the equipment in good enough shape to do it, as well as have they had OSHA violations. To me, that's something that's important. If you're having somebody do construction, you want to know if they have OSHA violations in their background. I don't know why anyone would want to dissolve a committee that has worked as many years as they have and have done a good job. They have long-term dedicated employees that they're going to lose if the commission is dissolved and the city tries to run it. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcia. Who's next? Got some folks out in the lobby too. If anyone would like to speak, just let us know.
Hi, my name is Kent Danzig, 27105 Maple Ridge Lane, Richland Center. I'm a local business owner, my wife and I are, and 6 years ago we decided to put in a bakery, and we had some electrical problems. Got a hold of J.J. Klatt. He came in, helped us out, got everything situated. I mean, these are the one things that work very well in our city, and I just don't think we should be messing with, you know, they're very successful at what they do. All the guys, I know quite a few of them, they're always working. You know, I'm a on the ground kind of guy. I'm driving around. They're busy. You know, they're not slacking, and they're doing their jobs, and they do it very, very well. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, who's next?
Just got one little word, one sentence.
Okay, hold on one second, Bill. Jason, you want to hand Bill the microphone back? He's got a sentence. Go right there.
My recommendation is what's in red, and the thing I put at the bottom. I just want to say I'm not advocating firing a city attorney nor Ashley. So
thanks, Bill.
I think you don't take any action and
okay,
work it out.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you. Okay, who's next? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Dave Fry. I was with the city for many years.
Hey, street address. Street address, please.
29,001 Snow Valley Road, Richland Center. I am not a city resident, but I did work for the city for many years. I would like to say I had the opportunity to work with these commissions. I had a chance to work with Scott and JJ. It was fun. As a city employee, I think it's very important that we keep all the boards that we have and all the commissions that we have. It gives the public another avenue if they have concerns. They don't always have to look for the city council. It gives them a chance to bring up their concerns. Maybe they'll run into a park board member. Maybe they'll run into a commission member. But it's just another avenue for the city or the public to voice their opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, who's next? Mr. Perry, did you want to speak?
I do.
You got it.
And you can turn off your timer because you're not going to get Rod Perry for 2 minutes. You're going to get him for about 7. And the reason I can do that is because I spent 40 years on the commission. And you can throw me in jail if you want, but I'm talking. When I retired from the utility commission...
Hey, Rod, do me a favor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rod Perry, 445 East Hazeltine Street.
Thank you.
In Richland Center. When I retired from the utility commission in 2020, these proceedings are the last thing that I would ever have expected to experience. The utilities were running efficiently and effectively, and our rates were comparable to those in any area community and comparable to those in any Wisconsin community of our size. They still are. So I'm not sure why we have to why we have come to this point and why the Common Council seems bent on dissolving the commission in what seems to be an overnight effort. I say overnight because this has all come to a head in just about a week time period, at least as far as public knowledge is concerned. Some strange proceedings have brought us to this point, not the least of which was last week's City Council Marathon closed session. The current Commission President, Scott Saul, and I were both called into that 4.5-hour debacle, and were both given a hint of possible reprisal if we talked out of school. This despite the fact that City Council closed sessions have become public knowledge the following day for some time now, with one or more of your members failing to treat keeping confidentiality as a necessity. I told the gang at Bailey's Pate knows what happened the night before, the very next morning. Yet you're acting upon advice from two people who come from outside Richland Center, one of which doesn't even live here. We have utility employees who are top-notch in their respective fields, led by Scott Gold in electric, Steve Kruger in water, and Todd Fisher in wastewater, and each with a staff of qualified and well-trained workers. Our offices, under the direction of Vanessa Muller, have operated well. Now, you've already caused Vanessa to turn in her resignation because of the divisiveness and pressure in this building. Cooperation between utility and city employees and departments has been ongoing and effective for years and continues today. Planning for utility replacement in the streets and street repairs are coordinated with the city in budgeting and installation. And so we don't tear up a new city street to replace water and sewer pipes. Our electric crews work with parks, streets, public works to assist in trimming trees in the winter. The electric crew puts up and takes down all the Christmas decorations at no cost to the city. You want to lose all this? Because if you do your homework, and I'm relatively sure none of you have, you will look at what happened in Columbus, Wisconsin recently. They disbanded their commission and lost all their utility employees. It's a disaster. To even consider making the decision to dissolve the utility commission with a 1-week notice is unbelievable. Our utilities date back to 1880 for water, 1904 for electric, and the 1930s for wastewater. Operation by the commission was begun in 1960, way before most of you were born. Commission operation has continued ever since through many trials and tribulations, but never has any mayor or council or city attorney or city administrator made such a blatant, poorly thought out, and quite frankly, asinine proposal or recommendation. Just how would the Common Council suddenly take over the duties of the commission? Take a look at the longevity of the current commission membership. It adds up to about 58 years. Tell me how a committee of the council would suddenly gain the knowledge to operate 3 utilities with which they have next to no experience except as customers and absolutely no expertise as managers. What do any of you know about power factor, load factor, BOD, suspended solids, ductile iron versus PVC, lead service eradication? What do you know about that? Well, I wouldn't count on any help from commissioners who were just dissolved if I were you. Now, I know that the utility funds look good to you, but you will find there isn't much of it you can spend because allocation of them is required for bonding and various other reasons. And as it is, the water and electric utilities already provide you with over $500,000 a year that you have to do nothing for. Accomplishments? Well, we weren't sitting on our laurels. I spent 40 years on the Utility Commission, beginning also before many of you were born. In a couple of weeks, I'll be 81. I spent half my life on the Utility Commission. 20 years as Commission President. Under my watch, we added 2 new electric substations, built a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant, which was, at that time, the largest single construction project in the history of Richland County. And we added a new water reservoir for the south side of the city to improve water pressure issues and add crucial fire protection for that area. It's just a smattering of what the commission has done since the year 2000. Don't make the mistake you seem to be about to make. Eventually, you and city residents will rue the day if you do.
Okay, thanks, Rod. Who's next?
Council's doing it, probably of the 53 members. They're all.
Larry Ferguson, 27490 Falls Hill Drive, business owner in Richland Center since 1988, and I've had to deal with the utilities in many different ways since then, and I have nothing but good things to say about what they've done for me. And what I've experienced is it gives me a one-on approach. I don't have to deal through a whole stream of people to try to get accomplished what I'm trying to accomplish. I cannot say enough good about the department heads that I've had to deal with, be it with water, sewer, or electric. And I've had to deal with them on several occasions, and there's no red tape that I gotta go through, no blocks, anything. It just gets done. And a lot of times, they see it, needs done, before I even have to call. It's done. Case in point. Just tore down a house. Electric came from clear across by the bowling alley. And all of a sudden one day, guys show up, they're moving triplex around because they know this project's gonna happen. Come into the shop, what's the best time that we can turn you off for a little bit to be the least inconvenient for your business? We gave them the time, they showed up, they did the work, done. That's the way it works. It's working seamlessly. I don't understand. Why are we here? That is the question asked, and we have to keep asking that question. Why are we here? My concern is that we are going to lose these department heads if we do what's proposed, and they're going to be micromanaged by a group of people that don't know about VODs, don't know about ductile iron versus PVC. All the things that Rod brought up, great points. And I think that we really are making a big mistake, and you've got to give it some more time before you make this decision.
Thanks, Larry. Okay, who's next? Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak in? Yeah.
Cole Muller, 19091 Kestrel Ridge Lane. I have previously worked for the utility. I have been a consultant with the utility over the years, and my wife works for the utility. Recently, an investigation on Ashley was done. She was promised confidentiality, and that wasn't done. I can tell you there's a lot of issues going at the county level, at the city level, and we're getting recommendations on how to run a business from a lawyer. Think about that. Does that make sense? Strong recommendation from a lawyer. We came into this meeting tonight with the city thinking that they can run a utility or put new people in charge, but they can't get their treasurer's report done. They can't have minutes done, and we have to pay more money to 2 different companies to do their job. And we can lie about on the radio that these people are retiring. Well, yes, some of them did retire. They were at that age, but they're all good men that would have had a succession plan to go through and continue to make sure they trained throughout. You know what? They were at that age, and they could say, sorry. So think about that. Think about the things that aren't being done in our city. Think about the people that have been buried in the wrong cemetery graves. I mean, we need to handle one thing before you can pick up another thing. There's only so much leadership capital that you can take on.
Thanks, Cole. Who's next? Go ahead, Lenny.
I'm Lenny Shaw. I live at 3290 Omen Drive.
came to Richland Center in 2004, and an older gentleman spoke to me and said, Richland Center had 5,000 people, and it will always have 5,000 people. So I've traveled the world over, and I probably have worked in 7 or 8, 9, 10 cities and never seen anything like this. And the utilities, when Rod decided to retire and came to me and a couple other people and said, Lenny, you should be on the Utilities Commission. And I'm proud to be on the Utilities Commission because I did some consulting work in Mexico and was out in the country in Mexico, just outside of Mexico City, and I saw rows and rows and rows of water. And then I was riding in a very expensive vehicle. The guy was taking me up to his plant in the mountains. And I said, what is this water in this ditch? And they said, that's the sewage from Mexico City. And that's why when we have fruit and vegetables coming from Mexico and we see them to be contaminated. And so what I understand of utilities, they are to make sure that everything works right. And I know that they are doing it. I am proud of every single one of them. And it's the city's job, and it's your council members' job to grow this city. And we need to do it. How many years ago did we have 3 or 4 grocery stores?
Okay, Lenny.
And now we have 1.
Okay, thanks, Lenny. Who's next?
Hi, I'm Christy Adsit. I live at 27105 Maple Ridge Lane. That's my old address. I own Christie Sunnyside downtown. I'm also president of the Richland Center Chamber, and I cannot say enough good things about the utilities. Whenever we have events, I talk to Scott or Billy, and for police department, I'll give you a plug also. And they're right there to help us out to make sure everything goes well, people are kept safe. My big reminder in this is everyone has said, why are we here? I want to remind you, council people, you are representing us. These 2 people work for us. And so you need to make sure they do what your constituents want to happen. City utilities, it works fine. Leave it alone. You've got enough trouble in the city government. The county has enough trouble in their government. Let's just try to make things simple. Okay? Keep it simple. That's my standard. And I've done that for the last 5 years. Been very successful with it. And have been very successful the number of years that we've been in business with my husband. The more you complicate things, the more people get lost and the more disruption there is. And right now, this is trying to make our government super complicated and very disruptive and not very a cohesive unit. And you're getting a lot of animosity within the community. This is a community of 5,000 people. We should all be getting along and working to build this community instead of having these walls come up between everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. Okay, who's next? Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public hearing on the future of the Utility Commission? Right up here.
Evening, my name is Casey Garner, 1186 North Park Street, Richland Center here. Going to be honest, I have not worked with the commission. I don't know much about it, so I'm going to plead ignorance and not say anything against that. What I would like to address is that we see 3 kind of nuclear options on this. And I don't see very much of a in-between or what else can be done. It seems like we just have 3 heads in the block and we just have to choose one. Well, is that behind closed doors? I don't know that either. What I want to do is say that they all suck as options, and I'd like to hear more or other options that can be presented. And I realize that there have been some personnel issues that have been discussed. I won't know anything about that either. What I do want to say is that a member of the public, when I have come to City Hall, I have been helped by Ashley, and I appreciate her work here at the city with her help that she's given to me. Yes, I realize that there's a closed door. I have ADD. I have to close myself in. If I had stuff going on in the office, that sucks trying to focus and get stuff done. But she was helpful. She entertained my drop-in to get questions answered, and I appreciate her work. But I want us to see different options. And can we please not wreck all of this generational knowledge in 1 week? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who's next? Is there anyone else? Yes?
Todd, just a simple question.
Yeah.
If you vote tonight,
Okay. Yeah.
is it by simple majority or super majority? Super.
Do me a favor, that's a different agenda item. We will address all of that. This is the public hearing. We're going to do that for you, Jim. Okay. Anybody else who would like to speak during the public hearing? We've got folks in the lobby too. Is there anyone else out there who would like to speak? Okay, I'm going to ask, is there somebody coming in? I can't see. Is there somebody coming in? Okay, then I'm going to ask one more time. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public hearing on the future of the Utility Commission?
So if we've spoken once, do we get a second opportunity or not?
No, just on the rules that I read off, but
Just curious.
no, that's a good question. Again, item 9.
I'd like to speak once.
Okay, I'll finish what I was going to say, then you may. Item 9 on the agenda is discussion and possible action on the future of the Utility Commission. It's a separate item for what Jim was asking about. Go ahead.
Travis Wertz, 415 North Central Street. I was sitting up there, as John Collins said, 4 years ago. 5 years ago. We were faced with some tough decisions on other projects. Also, when we did that, I recall reaching out to other people in our community. So, reminder is you guys represent the constituents. Is somebody said a little while ago, I know that nobody called me on the phone and asked me what I thought about dissolving the Utility Commission. I was on the Utility Commission. In fact, utilities is why I got on City Council. I was upset at a project and I got on. That's why I got on City Council. The more I learned about how the utilities operated, the more I came around to my thinking of how the utilities operated as individual. We appointed council members to the Utility Commission that tried to, maybe it would be best fit, had some knowledge in the utilities area, which goes right along with the citizens of the Utility Commission. They have knowledge in that area. And it is hard as council members, when you guys can come in and out every 2 years, to make educated decisions. So I do think the Utility Commission is a vital asset to this city. And again, because I was on there, just think twice. And again, I don't know if anybody has reached out to, you guys have reached out to your constituents and asked them how they felt in general. My assumption is no. So just please consider.
Thanks, Travis. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, sure.
I'd like to yield my time, Steve Richland Center.
Okay, is there anyone, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
That already spoke before.
Okay, I'm not going to do that. Don't worry, there's more on the agenda later for some of this. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Mr. Mayor, I have heard a lot of, we have heard a lot of these people, and they seem to be unanimous to keeping the Utility Commission I would like to ask for a show of hands for those people who want to get rid of the utility commission. Is there anybody?
To get rid of?
He's asking, he asked for a show of hands. He asked for a show of hands.
Show of hands if you want to get rid of the utility commission.
Steve, speak in your mic.
A show of hands, if there's anybody who wants to get rid of the utility commission.
Yeah, I'm going to cover that. Do you want to speak in, you are a citizen, would you like to speak as a citizen on the agenda, in the hearing? I'll let you do that. The rest of what you're doing is again, item 9 on the agenda.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we'll get to that. Is there anyone else who, from the public, who would like to speak in the public hearing? Okay, I'll ask one more time. Is there anyone who would like to speak in the public hearing on the future of the utility commission? Okay, and then at this time, we'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the future of the utility commission.
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Tepley, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Walters. Is there discussion by the council? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of closing the public hearing on the future of the utility commission, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. The public hearing is now closed. We'll go to item 7, presentation by Southwest Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission, Troy Maggie.
I do not have a presentation. We had shared some written thoughts with City Council, and so I wanted to be present in case there were any questions or comments regarding that. The reason we shared our thoughts, my thoughts, I should use I statements, I'm accountable here. Regional Planning Commission, Southwest Regional Planning Commission, serves 5 counties, Grant, Green Isle, Lafayette, and Richland, with planning and economic development services, administration, project management, all of those fun things we've been doing since 1970. We worked with the city on a comprehensive plan in 2020, 2021, and at the adoption of that, we found a lot of projects and actions and work that needed to be done for which there was no staff to do it. So we provided a memo to council about April of 21, recommending the creation of the administrative position, and identifying some tasks. And so as I heard the 3 options, I just wanted to share additional thoughts. So that's the purpose of the memo that you all received, outlining all our thoughts and the importance of a continuity of leadership in our communities. As you all know, there's an incredible workforce shortage and immense tenure, leaving our workforce and a lot of turnover. And so as we work with communities who are struggling with what you're struggling with, we always want to make sure they think about the importance of continuity and making change and keeping with it through the hard times and measuring the progress. So, like I said, I do not have a presentation. I wanted to clarify the purpose for the memo. I should certainly speak to any questions or concerns if there are any.
Okay, council, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you, sir. Sure. Okay, next on the agenda, review findings of the personnel investigation report, Mr. Wendell.
So first, just briefly, at the start of this, Administrator Oliphant actually had requested of the Personnel Committee to be investigated because of reports of concerns regarding a hostile work environment. At that time, having recently completed the Pine Valley investigation, I recommended a third party be brought in to perform the investigation rather than doing it myself based on the findings that and critiques that the Pine Valley report faced and still faces. There was an interaction with a citizen where knowing for a fact that they had not read the report, they indicated that they considered it a crock of excrement. That is not helpful in any way to furthering the goals of the city, whether by taking action against Administrator Oliphant or directing her to follow the recommendations of the report, because it places us in the unenviable position of either we investigate it ourselves and no one trusts the results, or we bring in someone else to investigate it and no one trusts the results. That being said, the result recommended, it resulted in 4 recommendations, which includes that Oliphant should undergo training in the area of human resources and management communication, that when time permits, Oliphant should make additional efforts to disseminate notes of department head meetings and collect employee handbook acknowledgements. Oliphant should maintain an open door policy, designate certain open office hours for the public and employees, place a sign on her door indicating her availability, and or make an effort to engage in more face-to-face communications with employees. Regarding the existence or structure of the Utilities Commission, Oliphant, the city utilities leadership team should continue to meet regularly to communicate and resolve concerns. Should regular meetings be ineffective and disruptive, trust issues continue to arise, EAP, Employer Assistance Program, mediation should be considered at a later time to assist in repairing the relationship. One other note I would make, Mr. Mayor, is that apparently some people have reached out to the investigator. She has asked that I share that you not do that. You will just be referred back to me.
Fair enough. Council, any questions or comments? Okay, and again, I'm sure the public's aware of this by now, but that report is public. If someone wants to access that, Michael, I believe it's on the city website. It's been distributed to local through town. I was there at the meeting you referenced, and I know that gentleman has a print copy. So if anybody hasn't read it, it's available on the city website. No further discussion then? Okay, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a short break, and the reason I'm going to do that is the next item on the agenda is the discussion and possible action on the future of the Utility Commission. I don't know if this is going to be a short discussion or a long one, but I know it's important to everybody here. So let's take a little break so everybody can use the bathroom if they want to, etc., and then we'll get on to that one. The meeting is called back to order, please, and I'm going to remind the City Council alderpersons, please, I've had 2 people who have been out in the lobby just tell me they're having difficulty hearing. Please speak directly into your microphone when you speak. Okay, next on the agenda, item 9. Discussion and possible action on the future of the Utility Commission, as has been stated many times, and is the reason so many have joined us this evening. The council was advised by Attorney Wendell.
You're really hard to hear.
You're hard to hear that? Yeah. Wow, I'm talking,
Better get the mic.
I'm talking right into it.
Right now.
Can you hear that? Yeah. All right. Okay. Item 9, discussion and possible action on the future of the Utility Commission. As it was stated a couple of times and many times tonight, the council was advised by Attorney Michael Wendell that he felt some changes needed to be made with the Utility Commission. He made 3 recommendations. His recommendation was to dissolve the Utility Commission. It's not the only possibility. I'll start at this point by reminding the council and the public that the council is not bound to any of those recommendations, and it's these 8 folks here who will make this decision. So we'll open this to discussion among the council. Mr. Wendell, did you have anything you wanted to say about why you made the recommendation you did, and the things that went on at the meeting you attended and so forth?
Well, I spoke at length during the closed session. My reasons were all contained therein. I'm willing to answer any questions that wouldn't breach the confidentiality of closed session, but otherwise I feel that I've been clear in my recommendations.
Okay, as we just heard from several members of our community, there's a lot of emotion around this, and I think that makes sense. So what we need to do here, take a little bit of time. I think I heard that loud and clear, and I happen to agree. It's not a small choice, whatever the decision is, but it's also not my vote. It's the city council that will make whatever decision comes. So what I'm going to do is simply ask each alderperson if they have a comment or question, and we'll keep the discussion going. Ron, having heard from the public, do you have a question, comments? What are your thoughts?
Heard clearly the questions that you've asked, why are we here? And I would sincerely hope that the reason that we are here is to look at each one of ourselves and what difference we can make in this whole circumstance. To figure out what is the best way forward for a city that if we want to be proud of, we need to make sure that the decisions we make are thoughtful, that they're respectful, that they are well thought out. And maybe it's good it's come to this point because we're in a position where it forces us to think about what we're doing, the people who've invested lots of years and work and time and effort in this community in a whole variety of capacities. And so I believe what I have heard tonight is that we need to take time, that there may be more than 3 options, in all likelihood there is, and to make sure that the decision we make leaves us in a position where reconciliation, cooperation, understanding, and a shared vision for the future are possible.
Thank you, Ron. Karen Templey, thoughts or questions?
Those are some big shoes to fill there, so very well said, Ron.
Yeah, you go in for Ron.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mayor. I was just having a conversation with Ron during the break, and what I heard this evening with, like I said, a lot of concern with many years of experience. I have never served in the 6 years that I've been on council. I've never served on the Utility Commission, so I did do a little research. I read through some minutes. I also did some research. There's another community similar to ours in population, and they do have a utility commission that is their council and their mayor. So did some research on that. Did reach out to a few people in our community that have long-standing. But what I mentioned to Ron was my understanding that the Utility Commission's purpose under state statute and within our rules and regs, that it's to be policy driven. I heard many comments about how well our utility personnel work, and I would have to agree. I mean, although I've not dealt with them personally, but everything I see also in the community, that they are doing a great job. I don't think there's any, I'll just speak for myself, but I have not heard of any comments, any negative statements about how they perform their job. So continue that. So if the commission is policy driven, and much of that comes from the Public Service Commission, that's where you get guidance from, as well as attorneys and other professionals in their roles. My question is, why would the utility personnel leave if the body is just policy only? Well, I didn't think that was funny. It's a legitimate question, sir.
Excuse me, you're pointing me up?
I believe you were laughing.
I was the only one, ma'am.
All right, come on, keep going, Karen.
Well, like I said, I think it's a legitimate question. I think we respect the work that the utility does, and if I am correct, by statute and our ordinances, that it's a policy commission, that's their primary role, not to, and by that policy, I'm sure they do have things that that affects how they, people do their jobs, but still policy driven, not day to day, you go out and you do this work and you do that work. I don't think that's what the commission does. So it's a question. I don't, like I said, made the statement, I'm not served.
Thanks, Karen. Mr. Tom McCarthy, thoughts, questions?
I would just like to say I appreciate the comments, all the information that was given by the public. We've gotten a lot of information from a lot of different directions, so think it's very helpful. So, thank you.
Thanks, Sonny. Mr. Mark Chambers?
I first want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. This is very reminiscent of what I dealt with about 2 years ago. And I think the entire situation is very reminiscent of what I dealt with 2 years ago. There was a decision made about my employee at this district based on a lack of information, I believe. I do not want that to happen again. I won't let it happen from my vote under my watch. So I feel like I don't have enough information to make a decision that would drastically change any entity at this point. And I will echo the sentiment that many people have said already this evening, and that is just pump the brakes for a minute. Let's look at everything that we need to look at. Let's have some, I think the best thing I saw in that recommendation was some mediation. There's obviously two sides to this story. At the very least, there's probably more. And with that, I think we need to take some time to evaluate all of those things. And if we don't take the time to evaluate all those things, I believe that we are remiss from reflecting what our constituents have put us in these seats to do.
Thank you, Mark. Melanie Woolers.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for everybody for coming out tonight. I actually concur with what Ms. Tepley had said about the purpose of the committee, or the commission. We can't hear you. Sorry. Better? Yes. Okay. So I concur actually with what Ms. Tepley had said about the commission is driven by policy. And as public comments were happening, I was kind of writing some notes down. One of the things that had been commented was, we need information, we don't need rumors. I agree with that 100%. I sit on the personnel committee for the city. I will tell you, giving out that information is sometimes challenging because personnel issues cannot be disclosed unless legal counsel advises us to. A lot of times there's information that because of ongoing either investigations or different matters, we have to kind of keep that information close to the vest. So while we don't want to keep the public completely in the dark, there are times where we legally can't say anything because of what the matter is about. There have been a lot of rumors that have been swirling out in the public. One of them is that this is a money grab, that we're after the utilities money. Utilities money is restricted. We are very well aware of that on this council. It can only be spent for utility purposes. We cannot say, okay, wastewater's got an extra $200,000 sitting there, so we're going to take it and we're going to buy some new lawnmowers for the Parks Department. That cannot happen. It is restricted money. We are very well aware of that. There was the loss of long-term dedicated employees. Karen made the comment. I will concur with it. If it is solely your governing body that is changing, is that enough of a change that a long-term dedicated employee would throw their hat in and say, I'm done, I am leaving? Day-to-day operations of the utilities would not change. The superintendents, they're there for a reason. They know what they're doing. They know how to run their departments. They give directives to their employees. Nothing with the employees would change. They're going to work the same hours. They're going to get the same pay. They're going to get the same amazing benefits that they always have. We have absolutely no reason to change that. So again, it would simply be, if the decision would be made, it would be the oversight of those employees. Nothing else will change. Because I have heard from employees, well, we're going to lose all of our benefits. You are absolutely not. I can assure you of that. And then the last thing that I noticed as a comment was the confidentiality of the personnel investigation. There was attorney-client privilege. The only time that anybody's name was put out there was at the beginning, and that was simply giving background information. That was from a meeting that was discussed at the Personnel Committee as well. That was not attorney-client privilege. The interviews, the information provided in the interviews was the attorney-client privilege. So there was no confidentiality breach of the personnel investigation.
But a promise that the name wouldn't be mentioned isn't a breach? No, because that was asked first. And now everybody in this room knows. So that's what you gotta think about, regardless.
So the information of the interview was
the attorney
attorney-client
said,
privilege.
she asked, would my name be in this report? That's a report, and it has her name, period.
Okay.
Done, that's it. There's no more to talk about.
Okay, so Cole, I'll be happy to stay and talk to you after the meeting, and I'm sure Michael would too, but right now, guys, the agenda item we're discussing is the Utility Commission, okay? More, Melanie?
The last thing that I wanted to just point out was there were references made to the Columbus, Wisconsin Utility Commission being dissolved and that their employees then quit. Well, I don't think they're just throwing that statement out there provides us with enough information on what were the circumstances that they dissolved their commission. Were there changes to their employees such as pay, benefits, things like that? While I understand that happened in another community, that doesn't automatically mean that that would happen here. Again, we don't have the details of the circumstances surrounding Columbus's decision to make that at this time. But again, like I said at the beginning, I appreciate everybody coming out and giving their opinions. I do believe that this will be a difficult decision to make moving forward. I just think it's important to give the employees of the utilities some reassurances that nothing is going to change in your daily job. Nothing is going to be taken away from you. We're simply looking at the oversight.
Just your job. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Kevin Helby.
Echoing everybody that's up here, but thank you all for coming. Not just the in-person stuff, the calls, the emails, the messages. Echoing what Mr. Chambers said, I was in a very similar situation 3 years ago involving him and his situation with the school district when I was on the school board. And at that point, with that decision, I felt like to make an informed decision, you have to have as much information as possible. And at that point, we had to have a discussion that just stuff wasn't prepared, it wasn't available, it was just kind of a rush through type of situation. I get the same feeling with this. The man at the front of the audience had mentioned, why are there only 3 options? Why are they 3 nuclear options? And that's a very good point. I mean, there is other options, there are options, there has to be other options. And I think it would be foolish to make a decision like this without trying something such as mediation, guidance from our attorneys, something like that, to get people to work that together as opposed to just putting an axe at it.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Mr. Steve Downs.
Thank you, Mayor. As some of you may know, I've only been on the council for a little over a year. Thanks to Mr. Ron Pruitt, I'm no longer the rookie here. But I originally ran because I was concerned about the utility costs, the prices we were paying for utilities, in particular wastewater. So when I got elected, and at the organizing meeting where they divvied up committee assignments and so on, I volunteered for the Utility Commission and got myself elected to the Utility Commission. I didn't realize that the learning curve for the Utility Commission is as steep or steeper than for the City Council. And I must say that I felt very overwhelmed that first meeting because it was kind of like taking a drink out of a 4-inch fire hose. And when I got to the Utility Commission, I had the same feeling. So I was drinking out of 2 4-inch fire hoses. It felt like it was quite disconcerting, to say the least. So there is a lot of information that the Utility Commission deals with. Mr. Scott Saul, who is here, has 30 years on the commission, and quite a number of others have 10 or 20 years also. So there is a lot of experience on that Utility Commission. And we would be foolish, I think, to throw that out. So for the idea of throwing out the Utility Commission, my vote is no. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dels. Mr. Ryan Kim.
Thank you for your input, everyone. It's much appreciated. I had several calls from citizens, and I've talked to several people. Thank you to those that have served on council in the past. It's a really fun job. And also a reminder that anybody that's here that lives in the city, you know, a lot of times the positions are run unopposed, so you know, feel free to throw your hat in the ring so that you can help affect some change. Everyone that spoke, we heard this over and over tonight. The overwhelming question is, why are we here? And that would be my question that I would ask too, if somebody wants to address that. And I would also say if I was standing out there as a citizen, that would be the exact question I would be asking. It's obvious to me that we don't have enough information to make any sort of decision, and the options that were provided were just those, and there's always more options. I would ask that we continue to work together to help grow the city and do the right thing, and I would ask that we don't make any decisions until we have you know, a good handle on the situation, but answering the question, why are we here?
Please, Ryan. Okay. 2 points I'd like to make. First of all, so why are we here? That was why I initially asked Attorney Wendell if he had anything that he wanted to say about why he made the recommendations he did. Go ahead.
So, hearing the discussion from the council kind of crystallized my response to why are we here. And it has come from members of this council, from members of the community. It is precisely a lack of information. That is why we are here. You know, Mr. Melby, Mr. Downs, you were in the commission meeting that I attended where I was attempting to gather information. When I requested additional information, I was told to reduce it into writing and send it to their lawyers. In the 10 months that I've served, despite having asked it numerous times and of numerous people, no one has been able to tell me in a way that is understood what it is the commission does. Now, when I see an agency that operates with very little understanding of anyone outside of it and then immediately goes on a defensive when there's any kind of oversight or accountability that's being proposed, to me, that's a red flag. Ultimately, if the commission is willing to change its behaviors towards the city and engage in mediation or additional education, then that would certainly be to the city's benefit. You know, the nuclear options were the only ones that were available. Certainly there are others that are willing, that we can explore should both participants be willing. And that was not the case previously, and then I had previously expressed my concern that any commitments made under threat of dissolution, that's duress. But should the council instead direct us to seek additional information, I'm happy to work with the commission in fulfilling that directive.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. So in the last few days, I too, as Ryan stated, I've talked to some of you others up here did too. I've spoken to several people in the community. And one thing that came up a few times, and I'm not going to name their names because I didn't ask them if that was okay, but believe me when I tell you, I was a little surprised at the diversity, if you will, of who the people were who recommended the same thing to me. People that I don't think are on what you might call the same side, which I don't like that term at all. But if you, that probably tells the story. All said, you need a utility manager. You need a director of public works or a utility manager, and you need it immediately. That's the biggest problem you have. And the reason they gave is because that individual would be at all of the utility commission meetings and would be a direct report to the city council on what went on at those meetings. We have an administrator. We have all these other department heads. We don't have that. And when some of these folks explained that to me in detail, why they felt that that was important, it makes a lot of sense to me to have an individual in that role. Now, so that the public knows this, that idea wasn't brand new. We've been trying to hire a director of public works. The city hasn't had one in a long time. The position was eliminated some years back. I don't know when, without looking it up, many years ago. And part of the intent the city has had in trying to bring the DPW, the Director of Public Works, back is this, is to be at the utility commission meetings, to work with the utility department heads on what's going on, and then also working with the city administrator and the city council on what the city does. One suggestion, but it just made a lot of sense to me when I heard the detail these folks were giving me on what that person would do. Do we have that in an ordinance somewhere?
We do, Mr. Mayor. It's actually required of the...
Read that.
Sure. So, this would be 60.04 sub 2 manager. The commission shall appoint a utility administrator, fix his or her compensation and duties, and provide for the authority of the administrator to act on behalf of the commission. I requested of their attorneys the name and contact information of the administrator, and they told me that they do not utilize one.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll read the statutory requirements in Wisconsin law, and it says the commission may appoint a manager.
Okay, so my point, I don't want to get, because we can hash that out. My point is this simple. Several people, one of them a long-term utility commission member, I'll leave it at that. All of them with knowledge of how all this works had the same recommendation. That they thought a lot of what we're talking about tonight could be helped, improved by doing that. Again, it's the council's choice. Okay, but I think everybody should hear that because that's the thing that came back to me several times from a lot of different angles. It was the same sort of, it covers a lot of things, that position. But one thing it does is there's a common voice, an individual that, if you will, that both groups will hear from consistently and get to know. That common touch point for city and utilities. I don't even like saying the term city and utilities because I think we're on the same side.
What do we call it?
The city utilities. There you go, Ryan. And does that not imply? Are we not, does that not one and the same? City utilities, it's right in the name. And I think we can get to that sentiment and that spirit and out of the position we're in. I agree with the older persons who have stated tonight that they need more information before they make a choice this large. I'm not even suggesting which choice to make. I just think slow down and ask more questions is the right answer for now. And I wanted the council to hear that from me and the public hear that from me. I also wanted everyone to know. It makes a lot of sense to me and to a lot of other people to have that utility manager or director of public works position that can sort of work with everybody. So that's what I had to say about it. At this point, does the council, I mean, I heard a lot here tonight. Before we move forward, are there more questions or comments from anyone on the council? Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Chambers, did you need some help? You got it? Okay, is there a question?
Actually, I was just gonna ask which ordinance it was that Michael decided.
60.04 sub 2.
4 sub 2, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, then I'm going to ask, at this point, if the consensus from the council, and if it's not, tell me no, is the consensus from the council to take no action tonight? Is that you don't have enough information to make a informed decision? That's what I'm hearing, but I need you guys to say that.
How would I go that from?
I would as well.
No, that's, what was that? 5.
Yes.
Well, that's 5 right there.
What's
It's just-
the motion?
We will hang in there. So at that point, hold on. So at that point, I just wanted to know if there was more discussion on it. It doesn't sound like it. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion that the council at this time take no action unless any of you have more you would like to add.
So moved.
Was that Ryan? Okay, motion from Mr. Carriage, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Downs. Further discussion?
Is this tabled to a future date?
How would you like that in your motion?
I believe that would be a postponement. If you'd like me to table it, I could table it and we could put it on the shelf forever.
Mr. Mayor.
That's all right. Go ahead.
So my recommendation would be a motion to postpone indefinitely pending a directive to the Utility Commission and City Administration to work together to resolve the outstanding issues leading to my recommendations.
Acceptable, Mr. Carriage? That's not what you said.
Not.
Okay, so would you please repeat your motion so we have it accurately recorded?
You were stating what?
I asked if the council wanted to make a motion to take no action at this time.
And that was my motion.
That is Mr. Carriage's motion, and that's your second, Mr. Downs. Further discussion from the council?
I think the question was, then are we bringing it back at a future date?
That's,
It can be brought back at any time with that motion.
sure it could be.
Okay.
You just haven't set a date.
Yeah.
Okay, further discussion? Missy, let's do a roll call vote on this.
Let's start with you, Mr. Cairns.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Melby.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Chambers.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Hepley.
Aye.
Pruitt.
Aye.
Mayor, can I,
Yeah, that motion is carried. Yes.
a question, if a vote is ever taken to dissolve, is it a simple majority or a supermajority?
It'd be a supermajority.
Which is,
3/4 of all members present.
In this case, that means 6.
okay,
Okay? Okay, next on the agenda, appointments, committees, commissions, boards, and confirmed appointments. There are none tonight. Next is public comment other than the utility commission issue that we just covered. Anybody? Yes, Mr. Saul?
Yes, sir. Before we go any further, Mr. Wendell saying that I told him to give me a list of the information, I am sorry. I'm 76 years old. He's got a list of about 10 things. I want this information. I said, we will want a list of that. Mr. Wendell starts attorneying up. I'm sorry, my opinion. And I said, and maybe it should be coming from our attorney, just to explain the situation where he was treated poorly in our utility meeting. Also, he did tell us that night there was no intention of taking over the city utilities. And he told us that. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saul. Yes, sir.
I'd just like to add that, if you guys are investigating working relationships between commissions and city administrators and that, I guess I'd throw out, I'd be definitely welcome to come back and talk because, I've had experience with one direction and Ever since then, we've had great working relationships with the city and between the utility. And when you look at the city of Reedsburg, the growth we are experiencing and all that, I think there's some good examples there.
Thank you, sir. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Could I just make a suggestion?
Yes?
You have two representatives of the council on the commission. I think it would bode well for the council if you would put that as a standing item on your agenda every month so that they could report what's going on to the commission until you get things kind of figured out.
It actually is.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It just
For
makes sense.
Yeah, okay, and I was gonna say this, and Michael's kind of reiterating, it's, in my opinion, and not just mine, imperative actually, that the commission meeting time be changed. We've asked for it several times. The reason for that is they meet at 4 o'clock on a weekday, and a lot of these folks can't get there, I can't. We've asked for it to go to 5:30 PM. I still don't hear a valid reason it can't. It kind of ticks me off, to be honest, because we've asked for a very valid reason. And that reason is, one, it makes it a lot easier for us when we choose alderpersons to serve, because a lot of them can't serve at that time. And two, so we could be there, get their information, as many of us. So just, I should mention that. But on each agenda, you can see it right here, mayor and alderpersons, committee, commission, board reports. So that's every alderperson, any committee, commission, or board that they're serving on, to give updates to the council. All right, I'm going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is to adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjourning tonight's meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.